You have been playing a game you cannot win. You wake up, you trade your time for a number, you go to sleep, you repeat. You call this making a living. Machiavelli would call it servitude. The reason you are exhausted, the reason you feel that silent, creeping anxiety that you are falling behind, is not because you aren't working hard enough. It is because you are a pawn on a board where the rules were written by kings to keep you moving in straight lines. Wealth is not a result of labor. If wealth were the result of hard work, the women carrying bricks in the midday sun would be billionaires. Wealth is a result of understanding the physics of power. It is a result of playing a completely different set of games, games that are hidden in plain sight. Most people are playing a finite game. They play to survive the month. The rich, the true outliers, play infinite games. They play to own the board. Niccolò Machiavelli, the father of dark strategy, wrote The Prince, not for the common man, but for the rulers. He wrote it to teach them how to acquire power and how to keep it. Today, money is the purest form of power. It is the only sovereignty that matters. I am going to deconstruct the 3 specific games you must master to escape the gravity of poverty. These are not hacks. They are fundamental shifts in how you view reality. If you refuse to play these games, you will remain a resource for those who do. The choice is yours. The cage is open. But you have to walk out. Game 1. The game of sovereign leverage, the prince's armies. The first lie you were told is that your time has value. It does not. Time is the most abundant resource for the poor and the scarcest resource for the rich. As long as your income is tied to your time, you are capped. You are finite. You can only work 24 hours a day. Even if you are a doctor billing $1,000 an hour, you are still a high-paid laborer. You are still shearing the sheep. You do not own the farm. Machiavelli knew that a prince cannot conquer a kingdom by swinging a sword himself. He needs an army. He needs leverage. In the modern world, we do not use mercenaries. We use 3 specific forms of leverage that allow you to disconnect your inputs from your outputs. 1. The leverage of labor. The old game. This is the oldest form. You hire people. If you have 10 people working for you, you have 240 hours of productivity in a 24-hour day. But this is messy. Humans are difficult. They have egos. They require management. As Machiavelli warned, he who relies on mercenaries is never safe. This is a game for those with high emotional intelligence and high tolerance for pain. 2. The leverage of capital, the banker's game. This is money working for money. It is pure. It works while you sleep. But you need money to play this game. It is the destination, not the starting point. 3. The leverage of no permission, the new god. This is where you must live. This is the leverage of code and media. This is the army of robots that Naval Ravikant speaks of. When you write a piece of code or record a video or build a digital product, that asset works for you 24/7. It does not complain. It does not ask for a raise. It does not sleep. You record a video once. It is viewed 10,000 times. You did the work once. You were paid 10,000 times. That is the definition of a prince. Most of you are trying to get rich by renting out your time. You are trying to dig a lake with a spoon. You need to stop digging and build a dam. You must transition from being the laborer to being the owner of the means. Ask yourself right now, if you stopped working today, does your income stop? If the answer is yes, you are in a precarious position. You are one crisis away from ruin. Machiavelli advised that a ruler should rely on what is in his own control, not what is in the control of others. When you have a job, your livelihood is in the control of a boss. When you have leverage, products, media, investments, your livelihood is in the control of the market. And the market is honest. The game here is to productize yourself, to take your specific knowledge, the things you know that cannot be taught in school, and turn them into a system that operates without you. This requires a shift in identity. You must stop seeing yourself as a worker who fills a slot. You must see yourself as an architect who builds systems. The architect does not lay the bricks. The architect designs the cathedral. The architect gets paid for the vision, not the calorie burn. Game 2. The game of optic warfare, the reputation matrix. If Game 1 is about the mechanics of wealth, Game 2 is about the psychology of value. Value is not objective. Value is a hallucination. A diamond is useless. Water is essential. Yet a diamond costs millions, and water is free. Why? Because of the story we tell about it. Because of scarcity. Because of perception. Machiavelli famously said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience who you really are." Most people think that if they just do a good job, they will be rewarded. This is the worker's fallacy. It is naive. In the real world, you are not paid according to your contribution. You are paid according to how hard you are to replace. You must play the game of reputation. And this game has dark rules. The law of concealment. If you are always available, you are cheap. If you reply to every email instantly, you signal that you have nothing better to do. You signal that your time is low value. To drive up your price, you must manufacture scarcity. You must be the prize. Machiavelli advised that the prince should not be seen too often, lest he become common. In your business, in your negotiations, you must learn the power of the pullback. When you withdraw, people lean in. When you are silent, people attribute intelligence to you. You must curate a persona of competence and slight dangerousness. People should feel lucky to work with you. They should feel that you are selecting them, not that they are hiring you. The Courtier's Mirror, Robert Greene, in his analysis of power, teaches us that you must never outshine the master. But you must also make the master feel brilliant. Wealth is often a transfer of resources from those with money to those who make them feel secure. If you are selling a service, you are not selling the service. You are selling certainty. You are selling the feeling that this problem is handled. The client does not want to know how the sausage is made. They want to know that they are smart for hiring you to make it. You must play the game of high status. Poor people compete on price. I can do it cheaper. Rich people compete on status. I am the most expensive, therefore I am the best. It is a paradox. By charging more, you signal higher value, and you attract better clients who give you fewer headaches. By charging less, you signal desperation, and you attract parasites who drain your soul. You must have the audacity to price your existence high. The world will accept the judgment you place on yourself. If you walk into a room acting like a servant, you will be treated like a servant. If you walk in like a king in exile, people will wonder when you are returning to the throne. This is optic warfare. It is the understanding that competence is the baseline. Everyone is competent. The winners are the ones who wrap their competence in a narrative of indispensability. You are not a graphic designer. You are a brand strategist. You are not a coder. You are a systems architect. You are not a writer. You are a persuasion specialist. The words you use to describe yourself frame the reality for the buyer. Change the frame, change the fee. Game 3. The Infinite Game. The Discipline of Survival. James P. Cass wrote Finite and Infinite Games. A finite game is played for the purpose of winning. A war, a football match, a stock trade. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end. An infinite game is played for the purpose of continuing the play. Wealth is an infinite game. There is no winning. There is no number where a bell rings and you are done. The moment you think you have won, you stop doing the things that made you rich, and you begin the slide into ruin. Machiavelli studied the rise and fall of Rome. He saw that empires do not fall because of external enemies. They fall because of internal rot. They fall because they get soft. They fall because they forget the discipline that built them. The rule of ruin. To win the money game, you must first not lose. Warren Buffett's rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. This sounds simple. It is profound. If you lose 50% of your wealth, you require a 100% gain just to get back to zero. Ruin is the only thing that takes you out of the infinite game. The poor try to get rich fast. They gamble. They take risks with a probability of 0. They buy lottery tickets, both literal and metaphorical. The rich try to get rich slow and stay rich forever. You must view your wealth as a biological organism. It must survive. This means you avoid the big mistake. You do not bet the farm. You do not leverage yourself to the point where a single bad week wipes you out. This is the barbell strategy. You are extremely safe with 90% of your assets, and you take calculated, aggressive risks with the other 10%. Most people are moderately risky with everything. That is a recipe for mediocrity. Be paranoid. Be boring. Boredom is where wealth is compounded. Excitement is expensive. Dopamine is expensive. If your investing strategy is exciting, you are gambling. If your business strategy is constant chaos, you are not a CEO. You are an arsonist running around with a fire extinguisher. The Machiavellian player understands that time is the ultimate variable. If you can stay in the game longer than anyone else, you win by default, because everyone else will eventually blow themselves up. They will get greedy. They will get emotional. They will try to shortcut the process. And when they crash, you will be there, standing amidst the rubble, calm, solvent, ready to buy their assets for pennies on the dollar. This is the discipline of the predator. The predator does not run around the jungle screaming. The predator sits. It waits. It conserves energy. It waits for the weak to make a mistake. And then it strikes. But to play these 3 games, leverage, optic warfare, and the infinite game, you must first destroy the person you are right now. You are currently programmed to lose. Your school taught you to be a worker. Your parents taught you to be safe. Your friends are teaching you to be comfortable. You have to delete that operating system. You have to accept that being liked is not a currency. You cannot pay your rent with likes. Machiavelli was not liked. He was exiled. He was tortured. And in that darkness, he saw the truth of human nature. He saw that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, covetous. If you build your life expecting people to be fair, you will be poor forever. If you build your life understanding that people are driven by self-interest, fear, and greed, you can engineer systems that harness those drives. You don't need to be evil. You just need to be awake. We have established the 3 games: leverage, owning the output; optic warfare, controlling the perception; the infinite game, surviving the chaos. But knowing the rules is not enough. You can read every book on chess, memorize every opening, and still get crushed by a grandmaster. Why? Because the grandmaster is not just playing the game. He is the game. His mind operates on a frequency that you cannot yet access. To execute these strategies, you need a psychological upgrade. You need to install a Machiavellian operating system that filters out the noise and focuses purely on the signal. Most of you are bleeding energy. You bleed energy caring about politics you cannot change. You bleed energy seeking validation from people you do not respect. You bleed energy trying to look rich instead of becoming rich. Machiavelli wrote, "There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others." This applies to your internal war, the war against your own mediocrity. You have been postponing this war. You have been telling yourself, "I'll start on Monday. I'll start when the economy gets better. I'll start when I feel ready." You are postponing the conflict to the advantage of your enemy. And the enemy is entropy. The enemy is the slow, grinding decay of your potential. You must become cold, not cold-hearted, cold-minded. 1. The death of envy. Envy is the poverty mindset in its purest form. When you see someone with the car you want, the house you want, the life you want, what is your immediate reaction? Is it admiration? Or is it a subtle, gnawing resentment? He probably got lucky. He probably inherited it. He's probably a crook. This is the defense mechanism of the loser. By dismissing their success, you protect your ego. You tell yourself, "I don't have that because I am moral." It is a lie. You don't have that because you are incompetent. Machiavelli teaches us to study power, not to judge it. When you see a winner, do not hate him. dissect him, reverse engineer his leverage. What game is he playing? What optics is he using? How is he hedging his risk? Treat success as a crime scene. Analyze the evidence, find the weapon, and then pick it up. 2. The rejection of fairness. I hear this constantly. It's not fair that he makes so much money for doing so little. It's not fair that the system is rigged. Listen to me closely. Fairness is a concept invented by human beings to make children feel safe. It does not exist in nature. It does not exist in the markets. The gazelle does not look at the lion and scream, "That's not fair," while being eaten. The gazelle understands physics. The lion is faster. The lion is stronger. The market is a jungle. It rewards value, leverage, and scarcity. It does not reward effort. You can dig a hole in the ground for 10 hours a day with your bare hands. You are working harder than the CEO of a tech company, but the CEO is leveraging code to serve millions. The market pays him, and it ignores you. Stop crying about fairness. It is a waste of bandwidth. Accept the rules of the terrain. If the terrain is rugged, buy boots. Don't complain that the ground isn't carpeted. 3. The strategy of silence. We spoke about this in optic warfare, but it goes deeper. The poor broadcast, the rich signal. When you are constantly talking about your plans, your grind, your hustle, you are releasing the pressure valve. You get a hit of dopamine just by telling people you are going to be rich. And because you got the reward, the dopamine, you lose the drive to actually do the work. Machiavelli advised, conceal your intentions. Build in the dark. Let the results be the only noise you make. There is a terrifying power in the man who works in silence. People cannot attack you if they do not know where you are. They cannot sabotage a plan they do not know exists. Be a ghost. Disappear for 6 months. Focus entirely on acquiring specific knowledge and building leverage. When you re-emerge, introduce yourself to the people who knew you, because you will be a stranger to them. The greatest barrier you face is not poverty. Poverty is uncomfortable, and discomfort is a motivator. The greatest barrier is the middle-class comfort, the monthly paycheck, the good-enough job, the financed car. This is the sedation. It is just enough to keep you from revolting, but never enough to make you free. It is the golden handcuffs. To play the prince's game, you must be willing to risk the comfort of the middle for the glory of the top. This is where the infinite game requires courage. You have to be willing to look foolish. You have to be willing to fail publicly. Machiavelli said, entrepreneurs are simply those who understand that there is little difference between obstacle and opportunity and are able to turn both to their advantage. The middle class avoids obstacles. They want a smooth path. The outlier seeks obstacles because he knows that the obstacle is the filter. The harder it is, the fewer people can do it. The fewer people can do it, the higher the value. If it were easy, everyone would be rich. The difficulty is the moat. Love the moat. Swim in the moat. Ultimately, all these games converge on one point. You are the asset, not your house, not your stock portfolio, not your job title, your mind, your judgment, your ability to stay calm when the world is burning. Naval Ravikant said, judgment is the decisive skill. In an age of AI, in an age of infinite leverage, the ability to make the right decision is worth billions. A coder can write the code. But what code should he write? A media team can edit the video. But what should the video be about? That is judgment. And judgment comes from experience. It comes from playing the game. It comes from having skin in the game. You cannot learn judgment from a textbook. You learn it by losing money. You learn it by being betrayed. You learn it by trusting the wrong person. So do not fear the scars. The scars are the proof that you were in the arena. Machiavelli was a scarred man. He was broken by the Medicis. He was cast out, but he did not lay down and die. He sat at his desk, lit a candle, and wrote the manual that would outlive the Medicis by 500 years. He turned his pain into power. He turned his exile into leverage. You must do the same. Whatever situation you are in right now, broke, tired, lonely, confused, this is your material. This is the clay. Do not resent the clay. Sculpt it. We are reaching the end of this transmission. You have a choice. You can close this video, go back to your feed, scroll through the endless stream of dopamine, and forget everything I just said. You can go back to playing the finite game. You can go back to trading your life for a paycheck. You can go back to hoping for fairness. Or you can decide right now to step off the board, to stop being a pawn, to pick up the pieces and start your own game. It will not be easy. The herd will hate you for it. They will try to pull you back. They will call you obsessed. They will call you cold. Let them. The sheep always fear the shepherd. You are building something they cannot see. You are playing a timeline they cannot comprehend. You are planting seeds for a forest you might never sit in the shade of, but which will feed your lineage for generations. This is the Machiavellian way. It is not about cruelty. It is about efficacy. It is about looking at the world exactly as it is, stripped of all moral delusions, and navigating it with surgical precision. The three games are open. Leverage, detach time from money. Optic warfare, detach value from cost. Infinite play, detach survival from winning. The board is set. The pieces are moving. Your move. If this opened your eyes, understand, this is only what I can show publicly. There are videos I cannot upload for everyone. There are aspects of dark psychology that I simply cannot discuss publicly on YouTube without being censored or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most powerful information. Those exist behind the join button. If you're still here, you're not like the others. Subscribe if you haven't. But if you want what's hidden, click the join button and step into the architect level. You will unlock exclusive uncensored videos that dive into the deepest parts of the human psyche. Most won't. That's the point.